check, I'm going to safely enter my bus with 3 points of contact on the entry. I'm going to hang on to the right and the left rail with 1 foot up. I'm going to safely step on the bus. I'm going to check the rails to make sure they're securely mounted. I'm going to check my floor that it's not weak or damaged. There's no trip hazards. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check my emergency equipment. I'm going to put my driver's seat forward and I'm going to check my fire extinguisher. I'm going to check to make sure that it's securely mounted. I'm going to check the tag to make sure that the service is up to date. I'm going to check the gauge to make sure that it is fully charged. And I'm going to note that it's an ABC fire extinguisher, which means I can use it on wood and paper, electrical, and liquid fires. I also have a fire suppression system here. The green light is on saying the system is okay, the tag's up to date, the pin's in place. Pin's in place on my fire extinguisher here as well. So that's in good shape. I'm going to check my triangles. I want to make sure I have 3 red reflective triangles. I would get them out, make sure that they're not broken or damaged. And I would set those up in case the bus was broken down on the side of the road using a different configuration, whether or not it was 2-way, 1-way traffic up a hill or around a curve. I don't have any spare fuses to check on. This bus is equipped with a breaker system. Those breakers are located up here if need be. If I was having a problem with the electrical system, I could open this up and I would check to see once if any of the circuit breakers were popped. I would reset them. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my seat back and I'm going to do a safe start. To do a safe start, first of all, I'm going to check my seat belt. I want to make sure that there's no rips or tears or frays in it. I want to make sure that it attaches and releases. Once in the driver's seat, I'm going to adjust my driver's seat so I can easily reach the steering wheel and my pedals. I'm going to go ahead and put on my safety belt. For a safe start, I'm going to make sure my parking brake is set. I'm going to check all my gauges when I turn the ignition on, make sure that they sweep left to right, none of them are frozen in place. I'm going to check to make sure all my indicator lights are on, none of the bulbs are blown, they all come on and then go off when they're supposed to. With the bus in neutral, then I'll hit my start button. So here we go. All of my gauges sweep right to left. All of my indicator lights come on, including the wait to start and the ABS light, and everything's gone off, including the ABS light. All of those rest of those lights are still on because we haven't started the bus yet. There's low air to the doors. So the bus is in neutral, parking brake is set, my foot is covering the service brake. Now I'm going to start the engine. Now that I've started the engine, I'm going to check my gauges to make sure that everything's in the normal range. My oil pressure should be between 25 and 50, and it is. It's rising to about 30 psi. My voltmeter is at 28, that's the normal range. My water temperature is at 180, which is the normal range. So my gauges look good. I'm going to check to make sure that my horn works. I'm going to check my steering wheel. I want to make sure I don't have excessive play. I shouldn't have more than 2 inches of play in a 20-inch wheel. And I don't. I'm going to give it about a quarter turn just to make sure it doesn't howl, make sure that it doesn't pop, an indication that my power steering and my linkage is in good shape. I'll check that on the outside of the bus as well. All right, next I'm going to check my windshield. I want to make sure it's clean and clear. There's no cracks. The rubber seal around it is good. I want to make sure there's no illegal stickers blocking my view. I'm going to check my windshield wipers, make sure I can keep it clean and clear. So I'm going to check those, make sure that the washer fluid works. I'm going to check those on intermittent, on low, and on high. All right, so they're working. Next, I'm going to check my heater defroster, make sure that that works. I'm going to check the fan on low, medium, and high. I'm going to make sure nothing's obstructing it from blowing on the window, so I can keep that clean and clear. I also have some auxiliary fans here. I'm going to check those. Those can be pointed to the window, and they're going to help to dry the window in some extremely damp weather. my mirrors. I'm going to make sure that they're clean and clear and properly adjusted. I want to be able to see all around my bus. I'm going to have my side mirror here. It's a regular mirror to see alongside of. Behind my bus, I've got my convex mirror. I can see wider out. I also can see my tires for turns. Convex mirrors, objects are closer than what they appear in the mirror, so I want to just keep that in mind. On the right side, I want to make sure those mirrors are adjusted properly too. I've got a split mirror, top to see alongside of, and then farther behind my bus, and then the bottom mirror so I can see wider out. It's a convex mirror, and also my tires for going around the corner. I want to make sure the glass isn't loose or broken. I have interior mirrors. I'm going to check my passenger mirrors, make sure that they're properly adjusted so I can see my passengers. Also a mirror that I can see behind me, and in this mirror I can see the mirror by the back door so I can see passengers getting on and off. I want to make sure they're clean and clear, properly adjusted and not loose, so it'll stay in place. I'm going to use my mirrors to check my turn signals and four-way flashers. So I'm going to turn on my turn signal or my four-way flashers. I see them flashing in my mirrors. I can hear them. I can see them up there. I'm going to check my left turn signal switch. That's working. The left signal comes on. My right turn signal switch. That's working. It comes on. And I'm going to check my high beam, low beam. Now, if you could assist me, I'm going to use my brake pedal. If you could look to make sure that my brake lights come on in the back. Okay. So, next I'm going to do my brake test. The air pressure is building up. I'm going to have it build up to the governor cutoff, and then I'm going to do my service brake test, my parking brake test, and my air brake test. For my service brake, with my air pressure build up to the governor cutoff, I will go ahead and press firmly on my service brake, release my parking brake, put it in gear, pull forward at about 5 miles an hour, and make sure that it stops smoothly. It doesn't pull left or right. Then what I will do is I'll do my parking brake test. With the bus still in gear, I'll pull up on my parking brake, give it a slight acceleration, and make sure it holds against a slight acceleration. So there's that sneeze. So I'm going to go ahead and close my door, need my air to the door, push on the service brake, release the parking brake, put it in drive, pull forward, Right, it stopped smoothly. It didn't pull left or right. I didn't feel any sponginess, so that worked. Now what I'm going to do is pull up on my parking brake, move my foot over to the accelerator, and make sure it holds against a slight acceleration with the bus still in gear. So you can feel it trying to move, but it held, so it passed that test. Now I'm going to put the bus in neutral. I'm going to next do my air brake test. I'm going to wait until my air pressure builds up to the governor cutoff. About 140, you'll hear the governor sneeze as it cuts off.
And just like the school bus, that's another one because it deals with the kids, so it's got to be extra.
I'm going to go ahead and fan my brakes because it doesn't seem to be building up air pressure. By releasing the pressure, the governor is going to cut in, and then it's going to build up to the governor cutoff. So it's down to about 90, and now it's going to build up that air pressure. If I were on a hill, I would chalk my tires, but I'm going to go ahead and just open the back door and use that auxiliary brake to hold the bus in place. Building up air pressure. Once again, I'm going to just mention that the ABS light is not on, so that means the ABS system is working. This bus is equipped with ABS. I can't stop any faster with ABS, but if the road were slippery and the ABS node felt that I was about to lose traction to the road, they would release some of the pressure for the brake to keep the wheel rolling, which makes it easier to slow down and stop and not skid. Okay, so there's the governor cutoff. To set up for this test, I'm going to turn the engine off, turn the ignition back on. Back door brake set. Release my parking brake. Press fully on my service brake. Now I'm going to time it for 1 minute. And in that 1 minute, it shouldn't lose more than 3 psi in 1 minute. So I'm watching my gauges there, my primary and my secondary system.
Pretty good, man.
20 seconds to go. Well, 22. Ten. 5. All right, so it's been 1 minute and I didn't lose more than 3 psi in that 1 minute. So next I'm going to check my low air warning system. I have both a light and an alarm. Oops. I will fan the brakes, and I'm going to look up here to make sure that the low air warning light comes on. It usually comes on around 85 psi. It must come on at a minimum before 55 psi. So I'm going to fan off the air pressure. I'm looking up here for my low air. It's got to come on and stay on. It's flashing right now. Alright, so it came on and it stayed on right about 80 psi, 75 to 80 psi, so it passes that test. There's an audible alarm that comes on as well, but that's not going to come on until I start the bus, so we'll listen for that when I start the bus. Next, I'm going to continue to fan the brakes, and I'm looking for my parking brake to pop up. That should pop up around 40 psi. Making sure that's working as an emergency brake if I were to suddenly lose air pressure. And then I would still be able to stop the bus. It's a spring-loaded brake, and it acts as an emergency brake.
Been a great drummer, Larry.
Yeah. There it is. So it popped up right at 40, so it's passed that test. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit the start button. The bus is in neutral. Parking brake is set. Foot covering the service brake. Safely start the bus again. And there's that audible alarm telling me that I've got low air. It goes along with the low air light up there. So this is going to build up air pressure. The alarm should go off about 80, 85 psi, both the light and the alarm. I'm just going to review what we did in the test. I safely entered the bus with 3 points of contact. I checked my emergency equipment. I checked my 3 red reflector triangles. I checked my fire extinguisher and fire suppression system. And I noted we don't have any spare fuses because we have circuit breakers up here. Next, I checked the driver's seat and the seat belt, made sure the seat belt didn't have any tears or rips in it. It wasn't damaged or frayed. I made sure that it clicked and latched and unlatched properly. Then I did a safe start. During the safe start, I checked my gauges to make sure none of them were frozen. I checked to make sure none of my indicator bulbs were blown, including making sure my ABS light came on and went back off. There's the light and alarm went off, so it's passed that test. Now the governor cut off about 140. I checked my horn, my steering wheel, checked my windshield, clean, clear, properly adjusted, my mirrors as well. I checked my heater defroster. I checked all my switches, my four-way switch, my left turn signal, right turn signal, high beam, low beam, and my brake light. I checked my steering wheel for excessive play. Shouldn't have more than 2 inches of play in a 20-inch wheel. I also did my brake test, my service brake test, my park brake test, my air brake test, which were the air loss test, my low air indicator light and alarm test, and my emergency brake test, and that concludes my cab check.